This recording is the official Liminal Void walkthrough. Before you play this game, I would highly recommend watching some other videos on it. Alright, so first things first, select your character. It really doesn't matter who you pick, you just have to pick whichever character you like. For the difficulty, I would recommend Canon. Chill mode is basically easy mode where the enemies don't bother you, and chaos mode is basically where the enemies bother you upon spawn. You will then have to select your companions, and this is where a lot of the lore happens. You can pick any of the other 3 companions, and that companion will become your second soul. Your second soul is basically another set of spells of a different type. Now, you can skip the tutorial level, which is what I usually do. I've always skipped tutorial levels, and it shows. But in this tutorial level, there is a golden sigil that can give you 100 sigils, which is a nice upstart to your run. When you enter the Void Portal, between layer 003 to 097 is your decision on whether you want to speedrun it, whether you want to learn a bit more about the game, or if you just want to get as many sigils as you can for whatever reason, or maybe get some achievements, kill a lot of enemies. One of the achievements require 444 kills, so between layer 0 to 097 is a good chance for you to hone your skills. Your first checkpoint is in layer 97. Some more lore happens. You basically get to reselect your companion in case you're just tired of one of them. It really doesn't matter, but pick whoever you wish, because in the next layer you're going to learn more about them. Layer 101 is known as the Void Layers. The Void Layers are basically more dangerous and have bigger enemies in them. You will look for a white portal somewhere. It's bigger than the other portals, and this will take you to the Void Layer for one of the 4 playable characters' past selves. You will engage in dialogue with them, and then they will become your companion, and then you go to the next Void Layer. Layer 131 is the next special layer, and it'll take you to Soen's past self. Soen's maze is very interesting, but usually what I do is I just try to jump high and just overcome the obstacles if your character can jump high enough. The same can be done in Void Layer 151, where upon entering the Void Portal, you enter Gary's past self. Void Layer 181 is a bit more interesting. You're going to be noticing more different types of enemies, including Void Beasts. Minerva's maze in the Void Layer has Minerva hiding in one of the corners of the maze. And once you're done with Minerva, all that's left is Helena. Void Layer maze 191 does not exist, because Helena does not need a maze. It's a maze. It's a maze, her personality, so I did not give her a maze. There you finally hit layer 223. By then, you should have already visited 5 Void Layers. And after 223 and until the next checkpoint, which is layer 397, there's another 5 Void Layers. Layer 223 is the second checkpoint, and this is where characters start talking a bit more deeper about themselves. If you've got a chance to visit all the Void Layers and talk to the characters' past selves, it brings a bit more context into why the characters talk the way that they do. I think at this halfway point, it's very important to know that Liminal Void's dialogue is a little different. You see, for every character you pick, the rest of the characters will have different dialogue. So, if you pick Gary, Helena will speak to you differently than if you picked Soen, if that makes any sense. So, the replayability of this game is you would have to play it at least 4 times to get the most understanding of the lore of all the characters from all 4 perspectives. But there's also the matter of the endings. There are 16 endings total. Your ending is completely determined by your companion selection and whether or not you kill the Void Gods. Now, onward. Layer 313 is a little bit more interesting. You'll finally start noticing more worm-like beasts inside the maze following you, trying to kill you. Best avoid them and always be on the run. When you finally enter Soen's maze in 313, you can finally have a word with Soen, and he'll give a bit more about himself. And then you go to layer 353, where you will finally get to see Gary in a maid outfit once you get through his maze. After Gary's little episode, we go to layer 373, and upon entering the void portal, we get to meet Helena on the streets. After Helena leaves Minerva in void layer 383. Once you go through the maze, Minerva tells a little bit more about her past self, brings more context of what she means by regrets. And then we go to void layer 393, where you once again meet the same character you met in void layer 101. Once again, no maze is required. And then there's the final checkpoint at 397, where you see the past versions of each characters again, this time much younger, slightly more optimistic looking. And then there's the final run between 400 and 443, where you have your final chance. If you screwed up any time between during the void layers and you were able to get in through luck and you're low on sigils, this is your time, your last call to make as many sigils as you can. Very cool thing about Liminal Void is that the sigils do increase layer by layer, so the drops are much higher. So don't worry, as long as you get a handful of sigils, you'll probably have enough to fight the void gods. Very important to note, once you enter layer 4, it's in permadeath mode. Alright, so beating the void gods is very interesting. A lot of the times it's based on luck, but realistically, you just have to be really honest with yourself and fire at the void gods with spells that explicitly say that they are high damage. The spell descriptions are very important, but for a ballpark measurement, if it's a very expensive spell, it'll probably hurt them a lot. The codex will give you more information about which spell is best to fight against the void gods. It's available to you with full display of all the spells you'll need. Additionally, it's very important to note that when you switch characters or switch souls, you also get their stats. Liminal attack is a very important stat because that factors into how much damage your spells do. If you switch to a character or a soul with a high liminal attack and attack the void gods with it, it'll kill them. Now, another reason why I incentivize getting into the void layers is, yes, I do have a story to tell, but if you've noticed in the top part of the screen, there are times where there is an overlay of the void layer number. If you have enough of them, you'll get help to fight the void gods, the hope gods. If you get 4 void layers, you get 1 hope god, and if you get 8, you get 2 hope gods. They're going to fight the void gods with you, or at least be a distraction. And then after that, you get 1 of 16 endings. That's the whole walkthrough, and that's just one simple run. When I created Liminal Void, it was going to be a 20-minute run at most, 15 to 20 minutes. But due to the lore and the dialogue, I could understand why it's a half hour or above, maybe even 60 minutes, maybe even over an hour. This game is meant to be played any kind of way you would like to play it. There's no correct way to play this game, but I've shown you one way in which if you are someone who wants to get all the achievements and you like the lore and you want to get the most out of it, this is basically all of the optional stuff that you don't really need, but it's very nice to have. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't, buy Liminal Void on Steam while you still can when it's on sale. But for $15, it's a very good offer. Thank you very much.